you grew up in Kansas City.
I did.
Right. And so officially, Nebraska and Kansas and Missouri are, for some reason, officially considered Midwest. Did you create that, or did you find that somewhere that these states are officially the Midwest?
3 different places. I did Encyclopedia Britannica, the U.S. Census, and then I asked some dads.
Oh, you did.
No, so I made sure that there was a third party.
Is that like the verification process that's needed?
Yes.
Okay, good.
That's
So
what I
just-
did so that nobody could yell at me.
Yeah, well, I'm going to yell at you. And so, I'm sorry, I'm just going to. That's who I am. I'm just wondering how today, physically, we're actually in the state of Kentucky. But if we pulled the curtains back on the studio and we looked out these windows, we're looking at the Ohio River.
Right.
And we're looking at downtown Cincinnati. But just because I'm right over the other side of the river, I'm not in the Midwest. How's that okay?
It's true.
I know it's true,
understand.
but how's it okay?
Here's
Don't placate. This is about understanding. I understand. You're an
first of
expert
all,
at that.
the Midwest is for everyone.
Here we go.
And you know that.
Okay.
Here's what I will say, and this is an answer that I have developed over the course of people getting frosty
been
with
out of
me.
Been out of shape.
Been out of shape. And it might not be satisfying, but if you went to a person on the coasts and said, I am from Kentucky, do you think they would treat you the same? Do you think that they would have the same response to where you are from as they would someone from Iowa, Indiana, etc.?
Well, make the comparison to Ohio
Sure.
because it's right
Yeah,
here.
exactly. Ohio. I was actually having a conversation
Earlier.
with it. Yeah.
So how would you treat me or think about me if you met me and we were on the coast somewhere and we're and because I don't have any accent. And so I'm just like, I'm from Kentucky.
Well, so I know because I wrote this book and I've also been to Cincinnati
Which is an awesome city.
that I would ask more questions. But that's the thing is I'm from the Midwest. I would ask more questions.
Okay.
And I know the Cincinnati airport's in Kentucky.
It's funny.
So, right? It's funny. The other thing that is very funny to me, and this is just like a slight tangent, but my bird brain, it's just so funny what we like. As I was driving here today, I was like, wow, I was just in Ohio and now I'm in Kentucky. 2 states in one day. That's weird. Man, I get my coffee in Kansas when I'm at home. Like, the idea that I'm in 2 states in a day, every single day, it just feels different when it's 2 other states. I was with my dad once and we went from New Hampshire to Vermont. And I was like, that's crazy that we had dinner in New Hampshire and now we're going to sleep in Vermont. And he just looked at me like, dude, I don't know what to tell you.
You're
like,
weird. You're weird,
you
right?
do that,
Yeah.
like, you personally do that all the time.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think because the biggest place I've had this conversation is with people from Western Pennsylvania who also really want to claim Midwestern cred.
Yeah.
And what I've said is I think that Pennsylvania, when spoken about to other places,
Northeast.
is treated with more like cultural legitimacy than places in the Midwest.
Well, you better talk about what that is then, because we like to have some cultural legitimacy.
Again, this is not me.
No, I know that. But
Yeah.
This is really good because here's what I think. So this Midwestern conversation, a guide to it. Like, I'm even looking at the front of the book. I'm like, corn. Yep, we grew it. That glass, it's not Tupperware, but it's a glass dish that we had those.
Yeah.
I remember having them with that little. So what does this, a guide to Midwestern conversation, because when I looked at the digital version of it, I'm like, yeah. I identify with a lot of those things.
Yeah.
So what is it when you said that we don't have like a big culture identity, but maybe Pennsylvania does? What is that?
Well, I think we have a cultural identity,
Okay.
but I think that it's holistic. Like, I don't think that people who don't know the Midwest, and I don't think that this is a good thing, I should say. But like, I think if you say Indiana or Illinois, but not Chicago, or Missouri or Minnesota to people on the coast who have never been like to those places or curious about those places, it operates as a monolith. And I think if you say Pennsylvania, people don't equate the people like, oh, you have Coast, you've got Philadelphia, you have, the cheesesteaks and the Eagles and,
What do you think the Midwest is? Because it's special to you. You wouldn't have written this
It
book
is.
if it
It
wasn't
is.
special. Yeah. So I'm going to include myself, but what are we? What are we?
Well, I think that we are so many different things, but I think what we are bonded to one another, I think, in a world of communication that is, it's that we speak a language that we understand and other people misunderstand that language. Other people think that we are being passive aggressive or that we are lying. And that is not true to me. I think that we are, the phrase I use in the book is, it's not a euphemism any more than bonjour is a French euphemism for hello. We're not saying this instead of saying something else. This is how we say it. So like, if I say to you, that guy's a character, right? I'm telling you, he's batshit. If I say to you, our kids go to the same school, or our kids are friends, right? I'm telling you that I don't like that person, that we are only operating in the same circles because of the proximity of our children. There are different ways to say, it's like, oh, our kids met in school and we really hit it off. Like, there are other ways to say, I like this person. But what you're saying when you say our kids are friends is, don't associate me with this person.
Did this happen to you, this realization, when you went to Harvard and then you lived in New York City?
Yes.
And
I
then you're like,
could not have written this book
Yep.
if I still lived in the Midwest.
Culturally, you're like, what is going on?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the other thing is that, I am now split between the worlds, right? Like, there are some things that I do that are way New York,
Which are?
I don't know, the pace that I move,
Fast.
like very, very fast. Something that I've said is, I think the reason I talk so much is I have the Midwestern inclination to make conversation, but the New York speed. So I try to get all of the Midwestern things in, but in half the time. And that's why I talk so fast. And just being a little bit more upfront.
That's a tough thing for those in the Midwest to be able to handle.
I think so.
Yeah, there's directness, and I don't know why. It feels like it does apply in the Northeast, in some of the big cities. I don't know if it's because of time. I don't know if it's because I'm not going to waste. Whatever it is, I find myself being more direct than the average person because I just want to get to it.
Right.
Right? And I don't know if the Midwest wants to sit out back on the deck in the chair, have a conversation first. I just want to make sure we can get along, and hey, I don't know what that is, but I don't want to take time for the bullshit.
Right. Well, and I don't think it's always bullshit. I think that it is a prioritization of it depends on what you're prioritizing in the interaction. Right? Whereas, like, if we're in the Midwest and we're out on the porch, right? I don't think it's unfair to say we're going to prioritize everyone having a good time. We want everyone to be at their, like, baseline most comfortable. And so because of that, I'm not going to be as direct. I'm going to make some ways around. I'm going to see how comfortable we are with one another because we've agreed that, it's a Saturday. There's brats on the grill. The game's on in 2 hours. Like, we all want to have the best time possible. And there are other times where it's like, I want to have a real conversation about what's going on, or something's in my mind and I know you and I want to know what you think about it. And then we bypass some of the pleasantries. We care less about making sure that in the moment everybody is comfortable.